Shuang designs the perfect fantasy world, never expecting Earth to become its launch platform. Worse, the system decides its own creator does not qualify as a player. To steal back control, he must exploit every rule he wrote and survive the rules that changed. His road to power begins with monsters, loopholes, and one furious goddess. Before any of that, his greatest enemy is tomorrow's rent. Shuang is a 25-year-old game designer who taught himself coding and art because he has no team. He built the entire fantasy game alone. Exhausted, he leans back and promises himself 2 more months will finish it. He is certain all that work will finally make him rich. His phone suddenly rings, and landlord Ma Chun-chun demands to know when he will pay the overdue rent. Shuang begs for a few more days. He promises the new game will make real money, but Ma has heard that speech for 3 years. Only 10 people bought Doomsday. His next game, P-Man, sold 1 copy and Ma was the buyer. Shuang blames the public's bad taste, so Ma calls his taste worse. She gives him until tomorrow to pay or prepare for eviction. His balance is a miserable 558 yuan, but Shuang decides shameless confidence is still free. He dives back into development, determined to speed up and finish the game as soon as possible. The computer suddenly shuts down as a flood of numbers fills the screen. Messages show it designing monsters and finalizing unfinished plotlines. It adds code and repairs bugs without Shuang touching anything. His own designs appear to be coming alive before his eyes. A system overloaded warning flashes. The computer tower crashes, and smoke pours from the ruined machine. Shuang thinks his life is over, but a strange light still glows on the ruined computer. An interface announces the release of a new fantasy world on Earth. The progress bar begins at 15%, jumps to 30%, and rapidly reaches 100%. Blinding light erupts from the machine as the entire building starts shaking. Shuang bolts through the door, convinced an earthquake is tearing the place apart. Outside, gigantic trees erupt from the ground and crawl up the surrounding buildings. Shuang wonders whether he is dreaming because they look disturbingly familiar. The crowd panics while trying to understand the disaster. Someone points upward as an unidentified flying monster slams into a helicopter. The collision detonates the helicopter, sending the aircraft and monster toward the street. People scream and flee from the falling wreckage. A little girl is shoved down in the stampede. She opens her eyes to find the creature snarling over her. Shuang freezes because this is not an unknown monster, it is one he designed himself. Shuang recognizes the C-rank hippogriff immediately. Eagle above, horse behind, with feathers as hard as steel. Its special ability is Ripple Scream. The creature rises and shrieks at the crowd. When it opens its beak toward the terrified child, Shuang knows exactly how dangerous the next attack will be. He snatches her away just before the scream erupts and covers her ears. The blast still tears through him, until pounding footsteps make the hippogriff turn. The hippogriff turns and sees 2 red eyes charging from behind. Another enraged monster impales it before it can react. Shuang recognizes the B-unicorn wolf, ruler of the plains. Its horn is brutally sharp, and its signature ability is Lightning Strike. As his vision fades, Shuang finds one tiny silver lining. At least he will not have to pay rent if he dies. He wakes in a hospital beside the girl he rescued. Unsure whether the disaster was real, he grabs the remote and turns on the news. Reporter Liu Meng says the new trees already exceed 5,000 meters, while the crew has reached only their waist. Something attacks him and kills the feed. Another team reports from 1,000 meters inside the giant pit. Glowing red eyes appear, attack the cameraman, and cut that broadcast too. An emergency channel orders every player to report to the player lobby. The hippogriff, unicorn wolf, skyline tree, and abyss pit all match Shuang's unfinished game perfectly. A status window suddenly identifies Shuang as a level 1 game designer and an NPC with no title. He has 100 health and 0 mana. His strength is 9, agility 11, intelligence 12, and perception 9. He also has 0 unassigned attribute points. The system notes that an average human has 10 points in every basic attribute. Shuang finally considers the impossible. The game he designed has invaded Earth. He opens inventory, but NPCs cannot access storage or skills. Every other control is locked too, including the profession change system. The creator of this world has been reduced to an identityless background NPC. The door opens, and Shuang instantly lies back down when Ma Chun-chun enters. She tells him to stop pretending because the television is still running. Embarrassed, he asks why she came. Ma says the hospital called her. Visiting him was definitely not her idea. Shuang says Ma always treats him well, but she only worries that a dead tenant cannot pay rent. Before he can answer, the rescued girl wakes. She studies Shuang, suddenly hugs him, and happily calls him dad. Ma immediately demands to know when he acquired a daughter. Shuang panics and begs her to let him explain before judging him. After hearing the story, Ma concludes that the child may have amnesia. She agrees to register her as missing while Shuang cares for her. He immediately asks for cheaper rent, and Ma appears to agree. Then she hands him the 8,000 yuan hospital bill and demands payment first. Shuang can only stare at the total in disbelief. Humanity answers the skyline tree and abyss pit with nuclear weapons, but even that fails. People lose the skies, surrender half their territory, and place their remaining hope in players. 6 months later, the little girl struggles to lift Shuang's shield and proudly offers it to him while calling him dad. He pats her head and praises her. Meng Meng is only the temporary name Shuang gave her. He searches online for her parents using that name. The replies bring adopters, scammers, and one supposed uncle claiming her parents died in an accident. Shuang firmly asks the supposed uncle for Meng's real name, and the man only repeats her temporary nickname. The lie collapses, while Shuang's report helps the city arrest an entire child trafficking ring. Another 6 months pass, but Meng's memory remains fragmented, and nobody comes to claim her. She is obedient and always tries to help around the apartment. Unfortunately, her chores often end with something broken. Ma charges Shuang 1,000 yuan for the television and another 3,000 for home repairs. He once considers an orphanage, but Meng tearfully calls him dad. That single word ends the debate, and Shuang takes her home. The transformed world has two main monster regions, the underworld and the wilderness. Underworld creatures are far stronger, while wilderness monsters are slightly weaker, so Shuang heads for the plains near S City. Shuang reaches the plain outside S City, plants his shovel, and digs until he exposes the hidden monster. It leaps at him immediately. He catches the attack on his shield, grips the shovel, and counters hard enough to break the creature's horn. The kill grants no experience because Shuang is still an NPC. However, his 10,000th jackalope unlocks the Rabbit Slayer title and finally completes his absurd grind. Shuang originally wrote that title for an ordinary NPC. Killing 10,000 jackalopes should trigger a hidden route, turn that NPC into the world's hero, and launch a campaign against the Demon King. 6 months earlier, Shuang discovers the scripted NPC slaughtering jackalopes on this plane. He repeatedly orders the man to stop, but the NPC ignores him. Shuang warns him not to complain about the consequences. He sets traps and uses jackalopes as bait to exhaust the stubborn hunter. Finally, he lures a tusk boar onto the plane. The beast launches the NPC away, and the would-be hero stops returning afterward. With the scripted hero removed, Shuang has quietly stolen the opening. The world's replacement hero is about to be him. Players of every level crowd S City's player lobby when Shuang barges in carrying a dead jackalope. The sight turns every head. As he crosses the lobby, people recognize the Rabbit Slayer title. They call him a coward for farming beginner monsters instead of entering underworld dungeons. Shuang is irritated because he is a game designer, not a player. He stops at Lao Zhang's famous spicy rabbit head shop. Lao's signature dish grants players 5% movement speed for 5 minutes. Shuang delivers the jackalope Lao needed, but the struggling owner can only pay him with rabbit heads. Shuang accepts the plate gratefully, unaware that a young woman is watching him. A young NPC named Kuya reveals herself, and Shuang is thrilled to see a major character finally appear. He knows she is no ordinary NPC. Chuya is one of the game's few goddesses. His 10 to 1,000 jackalope kills should prove his determination and earn her blessing. According to Shuang's original plot, that blessing is supposed to turn him into a hero. Shuang calls Kuya a goddess and begs her to grant the blessing immediately. Instead, she asks why he killed so many rabbits she finds adorable. The plot deviation leaves him speechless. Chuya brands him a rabbit murderer, grabs his hand, and scolds him for the massacre. She throws him down and starts kicking him to vent her fury. Even Lao is too terrified to interfere, while nearby players assume Shuang harassed a goddess. Under the beating, he can only wonder who rewrote his own plot. The system explains that Chuya's curse has exiled him from the world. His human identity disappears, and Shuang becomes a demon. The character panel identifies Shuang's new race as demon. He currently has 35 of 200 health and a full 100 mana. His strength is 13, agility 15, stamina 14, intelligence 12, and accuracy 13. No unassigned attribute points remain. Shuang is shocked, but demon-based attributes are higher than a hero's. That makes the entire beating feel almost worthwhile. With tears in his eyes, he declares his love for Chuya. She calls him disgusting garbage. His gaze wanders where it should not, so Chuya kicks him again and reduces his health to 30. Becoming a demon also turns him into a real player and unlocks the systems he lacked. At last, he can stop hauling every hunting tool on his back. Level 1. Demon Intimidation paralyzes weaker demons through fear. It costs 20 mana and has a 60-minute cooldown. Level 1 Demon Transformation gives Shuang a demon form and massively raises every attribute. It lasts 30 seconds and consumes no mana. The transformation can only be used once every 24 hours. His racial talents grant extreme agility, strong defense, dual wielding, and night vision. Demons cannot change jobs at the lobby, but level 10 unlocks a special advancement mission. The system offers to hide his name before broadcasting the rare race worldwide. Shuang agrees, and S-City receives news that an anonymous cursed player has opened a hidden storyline. The lobby erupts with jealous players, begging for divine curses of their own. None realize the mysterious winner is the battered man standing right beside them. S-City Association Chairman Lei Chiu receives the same alert and questions his secretary. She reports that Thunder Dragon Guild recently cleared the B-rank Lepingan dungeon. Bingyun rules out Thunder Dragon, Blue Cloud, and Blue Goat, since none encountered a goddess. The only lobby incident involved a jackalope hunter angering an NPC and getting demolished. Lei identifies that hunter as Shuang, and reveals he once knew the young man's father. He orders Bingyun to find Shuang and recruit the dungeon-shy kid for their reserve logistics team. Back on the plains, Shuang faces another horned jackalope with 2 shovels. When it lunges, he calmly hammers it into the ground. The kill finally awards 10 experience, putting Shuang at 10 out of the 100 needed for level 2. Earning experience at last feels incredible. Earlier, jackalope swarms always forced him to run. As a demon player, he can finally meet them head-on. Demon attributes make every jackalope movement look painfully slow. Shuang blocks one attack and smugly predicts every move. He seizes the creature by its ears with a terrifying grin. When it drops, the system announces that he has reached level 2. He tests demon intimidation, knocking nearby jackalopes unconscious from pure fear. Shuang finishes the stunned rabbits and stores their bodies. The efficient slaughter keeps pushing his level higher. Days of hunting jackalopes push Shuang to level 6, but their experience reward keeps shrinking as he levels. The low-level prey is no longer useful for growth, so he decides to hunt stronger monsters. Every level provides one unassigned attribute point. Warriors usually choose strength, assassins accuracy, and mages intelligence. Before Shuang decides where to invest his point, a colossal creature in the distance steals his attention. It is the level 10 Jackalope King, a D-rank field boss with a steel horn. Its special skill, Jumping Crush, made this beginner boss a nightmare by design. The Jackalope King was Shuang's first beginner boss. Its massive health, durable hide, and terrifying speed make it a nightmare for new players. Low-level parties are supposed to attack it from range with bows. Shuang has nothing but a shovel, so he immediately regrets his earliest design choices. He dumps 6 points into agility, raises it to 21, and challenges the king for demon pride. One look at the boss changes his mind, and he immediately claims he was joking. The insult enrages the king, which leads an entire swarm after him. Shuang narrowly dodges Jumping Crush and survives another charge through raw speed. He keeps taunting and evading until the king summons every jackalope nearby. The growing thunder behind Shuang makes the joke much less funny. Shuang warns 4 nearby players that the field boss has appeared. Instead of fleeing, they celebrate the chance for rare loot, until the whole swarm starts chasing them too. The nearby players celebrate the chance to earn the king's rare loot and promise to join Shuang. Unfortunately, the jackalope pack is chasing them too. They curse Shuang for dragging them into the disaster. He smiles, apologizes, and says he must go cook for his daughter. His speed leaves them stunned as he escapes. Trapped behind him, the party swears revenge. A few hours later, Shuang opens his apartment and Meng launches into his arms. She proudly shows him the picture book Ma brought while he was away. Since the adoption, Ma visits often and helps Shuang care for Meng. She sternly warns him never to act inappropriately, and their cheerful exchange ends when both stomachs growl for dinner. Fatherhood taught Shuang several cheap versions of fried rice, but every cabinet is empty. The refrigerator confirms the same problem. They have nothing left to cook. Meng sees his face and insists she is not hungry. Shuang remembers months of rice with mustard, sweet porridge, and single bread rolls split between them. Shuang apologizes because Meng has never lived comfortably since he adopted her. He asks whether she wants fried chicken, and she answers enthusiastically. Then Meng remembers their money problems, loses her excitement, and quietly says she no longer wants it. She worries he cannot afford rent, and she is right. Shuang owes 3 months plus repairs and medical fees, with only 121 yuan remaining. Shuang promises Meng that their poverty ends today, then orders a chicken meal costing 120 yuan. In this ruined world, players have become celebrities. People admire their powerful bodies and inexplicable healing abilities. More importantly, players are usually rich because their identity grants access to dungeons. Underground monsters drop crystals worth real money, unlike wilderness creatures. E-rank crystals sell for 500 yuan, D-rank for 1,000, and C-rank for 2,000. A delivery soon arrives with the Silver Arc family meal. Shuang and Meng devour it so happily that both start crying. That night, he carefully puts Meng to bed and pulls the blanket over her. In her sleep, she happily mumbles about how wonderful the fries were. Back at his computer, Shuang reads that the Jackalope King appeared outside the city at 4 that afternoon. It triggered a rabbit swarm that attacked 4 players and sent them to the hospital. Rescuers reach them in time, so none of their lives remain in danger. Shuang can finally breathe, after learning everyone survived the disaster he dumped on them. Relief replaces his guilt, because Shuang has spent the apocalypse posting guides to help players survive. His popular walkthroughs have made the unknown writer seem almost divine. One guide still ended horribly. 50 people entered a dungeon, and only 2 escaped. Their leader followed the walkthrough blindly instead of adapting when the dungeon changed. That failed guide run caused the system to create multiple dungeon floors and an entirely new boss. Shuang realizes the world keeps adding content beyond his design. Here, 99 successful runs mean nothing if one mistake kills everyone. After that incident, he gradually stopped uploading guides. The next day, Shuang returns to the plains completely broke. He can skip meals himself, but he refuses to watch Meng go hungry again. At level 6, he must reach level 10 before morning. That unlocks his job mission, an underground dungeon, and the monster crystals he desperately needs. Tusk boars are violently aggressive and always travel in packs. They drop no crystals, making the hunt nearly worthless to ordinary players. That is why almost nobody targets them. What nobody knows is that Shuang secretly programmed a different cumulative reward. Experience normally falls when players farm one species, but the 100th tusk boar doubles future gains. Shuang starts grinding piglets with his trusty shovel. Each piglet grants 10 experience, and the dead pile grows quickly. His celebration ends when a herd of furious adult boars appears behind him. Shuang runs until demon intimidation finishes cooling down. He turns, freezes the herd with fear, and harvests 50 experience from each helpless boar. Shuang activates demon intimidation and leaps into the herd. The tusk boars freeze and collapse from fear. He finishes them one by one with his shovel, earning 50 experience per kill. The massacre carries him to level 10 and triggers his profession change mission. The grind took 30 minutes longer than planned, but his interface confirms he still has time. To change jobs, the demon player must clear the E-rank Demon Wolf dungeon within 60 minutes. That fixed dungeon normally requires 5 advanced players between levels 10 and 20. This world has 2 underground dungeon types, including fixed dungeons with permanent locations and physical gates. Their monsters cannot escape, and a cleared fixed dungeon eventually opens again. Random dungeons can appear anywhere and release monsters if ignored too long. Once players clear one of those unstable rifts, it disappears permanently. Shuang suspects the system deliberately gave him a nightmare mission. After humanity's nuclear strike, the Skyline Tree formed a shield that disables every modern device nearby. Any car approaching the Skyline Tree automatically catches fire. Fighter aircraft lose thrust inside its shield, and no signal can penetrate the barrier. Horse-drawn carriages are therefore the standard transportation around the tree, and the association provides them to players for free. Shuang boards a carriage and admires the beautiful plains, wondering whether nature thrives better without human interference. The peaceful trip finally reaches its destination, and he celebrates arriving at Demon Wolf Dungeon. High-level carry teams sell dungeon clears to weaker players for cash. They promise crystals and equipment to paying customers. Because his mission must be cleared within 1 hour, Shuang considers hiring other players. One carry team says it has an open slot. The price is 20,000 yuan per run, with a promotion offering 6 runs for the price of 5. Shuang is stunned and refuses immediately. Shuang notices the 4 players from the Jackalope disaster wearing better equipment and carrying higher levels. Level 19. Chenxing suddenly approaches him. Afraid they will recognize him, Shuang hurriedly opens inventory and grabs a mask. Chenxing needs a 5th member, so Shuang pretends to be a miner who only gathers crystals. He hides behind the mask and claims he never joins combat. She accepts the harmless miner and explains the split. Her original 4 keep equipment drops, while all 5 divide the crystals equally. Their levels and gear rival paid carry teams, making this free alliance perfect. Shuang joins before anyone can reconsider. The party enters total darkness, relying on torches because electronics fail near the tree. Shuang activates Demon Eyes and spots crystals glowing throughout the tunnel. Level 18 Kaiwang reaches for the crystals, but Chenxing orders him back. Red eyes appear nearby, revealing a level 12 armored demon wolf. Chenxing steps forward to draw its attention. An arrow staggers the charging wolf, and her sword takes its head. A second wolf leaps at Chenxing, but Jingxi's spell catches it first. With both enemies dead, Chenxing lets everyone recover before moving on. Chenxing warns Shuang to stay behind and mine while her party handles the danger. As they advance, he doubts their excellent gear can clear this dungeon within an hour. Shuang ignores the intended route and digs straight through the floor. He knows the boss room sits directly below the entrance, so 1 minute of shovel work beats an hour of fighting. A wolf attacks the instant he lands, clipping him for 10 damage. Shuang opens his inventory and presents a dead jackalope instead of another shovel. The starving dungeon wolf turns into an excited puppy at the smell. Shuang tosses it the rabbit, exploiting a weakness he remembers from development. While the armored demon wolf eats, Shuang repeatedly stabs its weak stomach. The kill rewards him with 100 experience. He is thrilled by both the experience and the crystal drop. This hidden room looks perfect for leveling, so he decides to keep farming here. Footsteps gather behind him, and an entire pack follows the jackalope's scent. Shuang remembers that tiny detail only after he is already climbing for his life. From the ledge, he mocks the wolves for being unable to climb. They simply leave and run toward Chengxing's party instead. Shuang genuinely feels sorry for the 4 players. Still, they survived his Jackalope King attack, so he convinces himself the demon wolves should not be a major problem. Xiaozhong shoots one wolf through the eye, yet it tackles him and bites his arm. He cannot understand why so many armored wolves occupy this floor. Shuang notices the wounded wolf has entered a berserk state without provocation. Chengxing cuts it away from Xiaozhong and orders everyone to focus. Chengxing orders healer Yunkang to treat Xiaozhong first, and he obeys immediately. She tells Jingxi to attack the wolves with explosive fireballs. Yunkang wonders whether the party is cursed. The Jackalope King hospitalized them recently, and strange events began again immediately after their release. Jingxi launches a fireball, but the wolves dodge and leap at the party. She warns Chengxing that there are too many and recommends retreating. Chengxing blocks one attack and orders everyone back. They must protect Jingxi while she prepares another explosive spell. A deafening growl stops the retreat. The party looks up and finds an enormous wolf staring down at them. The other wolves form a ring and trap everyone in the center. Yunkang says they are finished. Xiaozhong recognizes the giant as the second-floor gatekeeper and asks why it has come to the first floor. Elsewhere, Shuang calmly digs because the boss room is directly below him. A roar from the first floor makes him stop. Chengxing's team has good equipment, but Shuang decides to check anyway. His mission can wait. Letting that party die would be much worse. Remembering his earlier mistake, he heads toward the noise and finds them trapped. His plan is to lure away the leader and leave the armored wolves to them. A brilliant red light erupts from the party, and Shuang wonders what they activated. Jingxi reveals the fire lizard's madness flame dagger. The D-rank artifact surrounds its user with fire. For 60 seconds, defense, attack, and recovery all increase by 50%. Only players below level 20 can use it. The party spent 6 months of savings on that dagger, and using it inside an E-rank dungeon is wildly excessive. Shuang decides ridicule can wait until they actually survive. Chengxing says they can discuss the artifact after surviving the current disaster. Watching from afar, Shuang realizes they no longer need his rescue. A D-rank artifact sells for at least 500,000 yuan at auction, so parties save one for true emergencies. Chengxing's group just used theirs. They become the first known team to deploy a D-rank artifact inside an E-rank dungeon. His mission timer drops below 30 minutes, so Shuang finishes the last tunnel and descends carefully. He lands inside the Demon Wolf Dungeon's boss room. The first enemy is Thors, a brutal level 20, two-headed elite demon wolf. This E-rank creature uses a special tearing attack. The second creature is Luca, a corrupted level 25 half-beastman and the dungeon boss. He has 2,000 health. Luca once ruled the half-beastman before becoming the D-rank Demon Wolf Dungeon's master. His preferred weapon is a massive battle axe. Shuang planted save points and secret routes across the game to reward exploration. This dungeon hides away into the boss room without fighting through every floor. Rather than stop at the locked boss door, he tunnels directly inside. To keep Thors quiet, Shuang mixes roast boar with sleep mushrooms, pills, and alcohol. He places the drugged feast beside the sleeping wolf and retreats. One head wakes and starts eating, while the jealous second head bites its own partner. One head steals the food, so the other bites it and starts a vicious argument. Shuang wonders whether bringing 2 roasted pigs would have been smarter. He silently prays that the noise does not wake Luca. After several tense minutes, the sleeping drug takes effect and Thors collapses. Luca is physically weaker than Thors, but his enormous axe and whirlwind slash keep him dominant. The weapon deals 35 to 50 damage, and its skill cools down every 30 minutes. The axe is a stolen Beastman tribal heirloom meant for their rightful chief. Unfortunately, using it requires level 25. Shuang cannot believe he personally imposed the axe's level 25 requirement. He creeps toward it while muttering that he deserves a punch. Luca suddenly moves and wakes, freezing Shuang in place. He snatches the axe into inventory before the boss can stop him. The unarmed boss punches the floor, and flying rubble still costs Shuang 20 health. A direct hit would erase half his bar. Shuang keeps dodging until his cooldowns finish. Lao's spicy rabbit head raises his speed by 5% for 5 minutes. He also activates Rabbit Slayer, gaining 10% more berserk strength for 10 minutes. With 2 shovels ready, Shuang stops running and faces Luca. 14 minutes remain, so the real attack starts now. Luca punches first while Thors sleeps nearby. Shuang blocks with 1 shovel and slices back with the other, dealing only 15 damage. At that rate, victory requires roughly 200 hits. A normal party could let a warrior hold aggro, but Shuang is alone and almost out of time. Luca tears a huge stone from the ground and hurls it. The projectile is too fast to dodge and deals 60 damage. Shuang slams against the wall, shocked that Luca now possesses a throwing skill. The system has modified this boss beyond the version he designed. Luca stops attacking, grabs Thor's chain, and repeatedly slaps the sleeping wolf. Shuang calls him a coward for summoning backup during a supposed one-on-one fight. Shuang checks his remaining points and knows Thor's cannot be allowed to wake. Even spending everything on strength would barely help. His only real objective is staying alive, so he risks every remaining point on agility. Shuang may now be the fastest level 10 player alive. He rushes Luca and lands 2 shovel strikes for 18 and 20 damage. Luca counters with sharp claws, but Shuang flips over the attack and extinguishes a torch during the dodge. The strike was a distraction. Darkness was always the real target. Demon Eyes give Shuang a huge advantage once every torch goes out. Luca senses movement behind him and blocks the first ambush. Shuang twists through the air, refuses to disengage, and circles for another opening. Shuang slashes Luca's neck for 130 weak point damage. The hit lowers the boss from 2,000 health to 1,817. Luca punches back, but Shuang disappears into the darkness before the strike connects. Another strike crushes Luca's kneecap and slows his movement. Shuang immediately attacks the eye, reducing his vision and dealing another 120 damage. The stealth assault is working, so Shuang charges again. Luca grabs Thor's chain and whips it blindly across the room. The chain catches Shuang's stomach and slams him down for 75 damage. With only 100 of 250 health left, he reaches for medicine under another attack. The system warns that Luca is adapting to the dark. Shuang drinks a medium potion, restores 100 health over 10 seconds, and finally turns back to fight. Shuang leaps in and smashes Luca's head with his shovel. He keeps battering the boss's face, shoulder, hand, and jaw without pause. The relentless combination drives Luca down to 650 health out of 2,000. That drops Luca below 1/3 health and triggers his berserk state. Flames surge around the boss as the system warns Shuang that Luca has locked onto him. Luca drives a fist at Shuang, who catches it with his shovel because he cannot dodge. The shovel shatters, the punch buries into his stomach, and the impact hurls him into a wall for 100 critical damage. Badly wounded, Shuang knows one more hit could kill him. Luca appears overhead for the finishing blow, but Shuang rolls aside at the last possible instant. Shuang jumps up and runs, provoking Luca with a claim of his own. If Luca can go berserk, so can he. The mission clock shows 4 minutes and 30 seconds, while Shuang's berserk skill needs 12 more seconds. With no time to wait, he plays his trump card and activates Demon Race transformation. Bright light engulfs Shuang as he takes on a demon form, temporarily raising every stat by 20%. The transformation lasts only 29 seconds, but power floods his body immediately. In this form, Shuang believes he could defeat even a level 30 player by himself. Berserk Luca still feels fear as Shuang becomes huge, ferocious, and terrifying. Luca desperately throws stone after stone, yet Shuang only walks toward him in complete calm. Shuang catches a massive rock one-handed and crushes it, then asks whether Luca is ready for what comes next. He launches into the air, closes the gap, and tells the boss to taste his serious punch. Shuang hammers Luca across the face and jaw, with every punch dealing between 130 and 170 damage. His transformed body supplies overwhelming power, but only for about 30 seconds. If Luca survives until the transformation ends, the fight could reverse again. Shuang cannot give the boss even one chance to recover. Upstairs, Chenxing and her party lie exhausted after finishing the first floor. Xiaozhong celebrates their victory, while Jingxi warns that her magic staff is nearly broken. A powerful roar suddenly reaches Chenxing's group. Xiaozhong panics and asks whether another disaster has appeared. Jingxi suspects a monster battle is happening below them. Chenxing orders everyone to rest while remaining alert. 1 minute later, they head toward the boss room and receive a message congratulating them for clearing Demon Wolf Dungeon and killing Luca. Xiaozhong stares at the others, wondering how they somehow cleared it so easily. Back in the boss room, Shuang gains 3 levels at once. The system congratulates him for completing the Demon Profession Change mission. Exhausted but relieved, he opens inventory to inspect the boss loot. One item is labeled Strange Necklace. Its level, effect, and rarity are all unknown, but Shuang can tell it must be valuable. The pile contains plenty of magic crystals, including one perfect blue crystal that shocks him. Shuang knows crystals come in 3 quality classes: common, pure, and perfect. A common D-rank blue crystal glows faintly and has poor quality, while a pure one shines brighter. A perfect D-rank blue crystal blazes like a precious jewel and stands above both. Knowing its value, Shuang imagines a luxurious meal where Meng happily tells him she loves her dad more than anyone. The fantasy alone leaves him delighted. His broken shovel brings him back to reality, because he now needs a craftsman who can forge something durable. At this point, using a shovel has become second nature. Shuang takes out the weird necklace and wonders why he cannot appraise it or remember adding it to the game. Footsteps approach Thor's chamber, and the sleeping 2-headed wolf begins rising. Shuang knows the game's design too well. Pushing the stone door will wake Thor's immediately. The guaranteed sleep potion will not work now, so he curses the designer and prepares to escape before the wolf notices him. He leaps onto a hanging rope and climbs toward his exit. Since Luca is already dead, Shuang leaves Chenxing's party to handle Thor's themselves. Seconds later, the party opens the boss room door and finds Luca defeated before they have even moved the stone gate. Jingxi calls the dungeon bizarre, and everyone is stunned when they spot Luca's corpse on the floor. Xiaozhong guesses that Thor's betrayed and killed Luca. The two-headed wolf hears him and attacks the party in fury. They scream that this dungeon is not merely strange, it is completely insane. After a hard fight, they finally kill Thor's. Xiaozhong admits the run still feels like a loss. They sacrificed an artifact and received only a few E-rank crystals, minor junk, and not one worthwhile weapon. A system message suddenly records their clear time at 58 minutes and 2 seconds, breaking the previous dungeon record. Before announcing it worldwide, the system asks whether they want their identities hidden. After a silent pause, Chenxing refuses anonymity. When the system requests a team name, she chooses Fire Lizard Squad. A global announcement congratulates Fire Lizard Squad for clearing Demon Wolf Dungeon in 58 minutes and 2 seconds. It names Chengxing, Kai Wang, Xiaozhong, Jingxi, Yongkang, and Shuang as the record-breaking members. Every announced team member receives the Wolf Hunter title. Other players know the party used a rare artifact. Even so, clearing the dungeon in only 58 minutes leaves everyone deeply impressed. Xiaozhong tells Chenxing that this fame could earn them places in major guilds. The interface explains that Wolf Hunter raises attack power by 7% for clearing Demon Wolf Dungeon within 1 hour. They find Shuang drinking water on the first floor and assume he must have mined a huge haul. Xiaozhong sees only a few crystals on the ground and fumes that Shuang spent the whole run digging for almost nothing. Shuang apologizes and explains that every shovel broke, but Xiaozhong keeps scolding him. He says hiring such an incompetent miner brought terrible luck, and the crystals cannot even repay their potion costs. Xiaozhong claims the free title as Shuang's only reward, takes every crystal, and walks away with the others. Jingxi turns back, stops Shuang, and gives him the one crystal she promised. Shuang thanks Jingxi, asks her name, and boldly requests her phone number. She introduces herself as Qi Jingxi, shares it, and tells him to leave before the dungeon closes. Outside, waiting players wonder why the record team has not emerged. The door opens, the crowd erupts, and recruiters swarm the party with guild invitations, requests for their clear strategy, and offers for valuable loot. Crowds are Shuang's natural enemy, so he slips away unnoticed. He leaves Chenxing's group and the frenzy behind at the dungeon gate. Once Shuang finds a quiet place, he opens the game interface without anyone disturbing him. Completing the quest means he can finally choose his new profession. Demon warriors are famous for strength and defense, with stone-hard bodies that resist most weapons. Demon hunters trade that toughness for extreme agility and can convert all agility into attack power. Demon mages possess powerful spirits, healing magic, and the ability to summon dead souls and skeletons. A strong enough demon mage can face an entire army alone. Shuang's indecisive Libra nature turns the choice into torture. Warrior means tank, hunter means assassin, and mage means summoner, so he wishes he could take all three. The system says only one profession is allowed unless he obtains a hero certificate, which unlocks another. Shuang suspects the goddess controls that certificate, but avoids searching for her because she may still be furious. Shuang chooses Demon Hunter because converting agility into attack fits him best. Light surrounds him, the class change succeeds, and the system confirms that his attributes have changed. Shuang is now level 13, with 120 of the 380 experience needed for level 14. He carries the Rabbit Hunter and Wolf Hunter titles, with 300 health and 150 mana. His strength and agility both reach 28, while physique is 14, wisdom 12, and sense 13. 3 unassigned attribute points remain. His new Hunt Mark skill can tag one target and reveal its location for the mark's duration. Against that monster, Shuang deals double damage and can identify weak points while attacking. Hunt Mark can affect only one target at a time. Killing the marked target instantly resets the skill's cooldown. Failing to kill that target triggers a full 24-hour cooldown. Each activation costs 50 mana. Shuang beams at his new skill. For one-on-one fights, Hunt Mark is exceptionally powerful. At the Player Association headquarters, Bingyun reports that the Divine Warrior Guild is fighting a massive battle against Dark Elves on the western skyline treefront. 40 players are dead, the Divine Warrior has vanished, and the guild's deputy leader has been killed. Divine Warrior holds a unique profession and leads a combat guild directly under military authority. The guild normally avoids dungeon raids and fights monsters on the front lines instead. Lei asks how widely the disaster is known, and Bingyun says officials suppress the news to prevent panic. His concern deepens when she adds that senior leadership wants other player guilds sent forward as reinforcements. Meanwhile, Shuang rides a carriage through the skyline tree shield outside S City. The moment his signal returns, his phone explodes with angry messages from Ma. Ma tears into him for neglecting his duties as Meng's guardian. Meng is sick and needs to go to the hospital. At S City Central Hospital, Ma peels an apple beside sleeping Meng when Shuang bursts into the room. Ma grips the fruit knife and orders him to lower his voice because Meng only just fell asleep. Ma demands to know where he spent the last 2 days and why he missed Meng's fever. Shuang says he was busy earning money and excitedly insists he finally succeeded. Shuang celebrates being able to cover rent, treatment, the water leak, and the television Meng broke. Ma has watched him lose money for years and openly doubts he has ever earned any. Shuang produces his perfect blue crystals and asks Ma to sell them because their value should cover everything. When she asks whether he entered a dungeon, he dodges the question by claiming he wants to become a miner. A nurse suddenly knocks and asks which visitor belongs to Meng's family. Dr. Ji has information she wants to share. Shuang and Ma answer, "I am," at the exact same time. After an awkward, stunned silence, Shuang suggests that he should go. Minutes later, Dr. Ji tells Shuang to prepare himself and hands him Meng's diagnosis. Her magical element levels are abnormally high, matching magical element syndrome. Cancer once represented humanity's greatest medical fear, but magical element syndrome has replaced it in the new age. Since the game invaded Earth, the air has carried magical particles alongside its ordinary gases. Most bodies ignore those particles, but some absorb them until dangerous amounts accumulate. The result can include constant fever, extreme sleepiness, appetite loss, and black spots on the skin. Dr. G says modern medicine cannot cure the syndrome, leaving preventive treatment as their only option. Meng carries 10 times a normal patient's magical elements, so even that treatment may fail. Shuang collapses onto a bench and crushes the diagnosis in his hand. Meng surviving this long is already a miracle, but he refuses to surrender. Shuang decides to raid burial ground for Lasso's tears, an S-rank item said to cure every disease. The relic bears the name of the goddess of light and hope, whose tears heal any illness in legend. Lasso's tears can only appear inside burial ground, a place embodying death. The S difficulty dungeon admits levels 10 through 30 and has room for only one party. Shuang cannot form a party, so he must challenge burial ground alone. Most players cannot clear it, but he is no longer the weakling who could barely defeat horned rabbits. Back in Meng's room, Ma anxiously asks what the doctor said. Shuang lies that it is an ordinary fever and claims the hospital only needs more money because the current payment is insufficient. Ma protests that they already paid 3,000 yuan that morning and cannot have exhausted it in one day. She tells Shuang the rent can wait until Meng recovers if money is tight. Shuang breaks down and admits Ma is genuinely kind, but she says Meng is the only reason she did not evict him years ago. She pats his back, scolds him for being filthy, and orders him to wash while she watches Meng overnight. Shuang realizes dungeon digging and the boss fight left his entire body exhausted, dusty, and covered in sand. He agrees to shower first, while Ma quietly tells him he can leave afterward. In the shower, Shuang notices how joining the demon race changed his body and planted a powerful urge to destroy things. He is only level 13, yet his attributes already exceed those of most level 20 players. With Hunt Mark, Shuang can confidently solo a D-rank dungeon. Burial Ground is S difficulty, however, so he needs a major boost to his overall combat power. After thinking it through, Shuang visits Chang'an Street, S City's crowded market for player weapons. While walking between the stalls, he hears a caged monster whimpering. A seller assures a woman that his pet monster is perfectly safe, then demonstrates its electric collar. He presses a button, asks her to try, and the shock leaves. The creature collapsed and badly injured. The seller adds that they removed every fang, so the monster cannot bite anyone, even without the collar. The woman agrees to buy it, and Shuang reflects that Earth changed completely while people stayed the same. A minute later, Shuang reaches the magic crystal exchange and discovers prices have dropped. Other players complain too, but more dungeon clears mean more supply, leaving everyone with little choice. Shuang empties several crystals from his inventory, and the clerk quotes current rates of 455 yuan for C rank and 965 for D rank crystals. The clerk asks whether he wants to complete the exchange. Shuang pauses and produces one more crystal, asking for its value. The startled clerk examines it carefully and identifies a perfect D-rank magic crystal. A man behind Shuang dismisses it as a mere perfect D-rank crystal useful only for forging D-rank weapons. 6 months earlier, demand and value would have been far higher, with buyers fighting over it. The clerk offers Shuang 10,000 yuan for the perfect crystal, and Shuang accepts. The clerk thanks him and promises an immediate transfer after tax. Once every crystal is exchanged and the tax is deducted, Shuang receives a total deposit of 133,200 yuan. Shuang next browses Lao Cao's weapon shop, where a Windfrost longsword costs 55,000 yuan, and a water crystal dagger costs 95,000. He loudly complains that the store lacks elite gear, but the truth is painfully simple. He cannot afford it. On the street, Shuang spots gleaming blades lying on the ground and identifies them as Baldur's cursed swords. The B-rank weapons require no minimum level and carry 1,445 attack power. The swords deal extra damage to dead spirits and absorb those souls to increase attack, stacking up to 20 times. Their cost is severe for a human wielder, who loses 10% of maximum health. The god of light Baldur originally forged the weapon from parasitic tree branches found in the divine land. After the other gods betrayed Baldur, his weapon became cursed. Amazed by all three effects, Shuang asks the seller for a price and hears 155,000 yuan. He argues that the sword is dangerous to humans and overpriced, but the seller calls it B rank and tells him to leave if he does not want it. Shuang pulls a massive axe from his inventory and proposes a trade. The seller recognizes it as only D rank, yet accepts because Baldur's sword has sat unsold for days. As Shuang leaves, the seller laughs over the fortune he thinks he made from the trade. He has no idea Shuang is no longer human, which makes the cursed sword far more valuable to its new owner. Shuang returns to the hospital and finds Meng and Ma asleep. He gently covers Ma with a blanket. He walks to the nurse's station and upgrades room 27 to a VIP suite.